When watches like this come into the channel, I find it very difficult to review because trying to stay subjective when you really like a watch, that's hard. That's really difficult because this is spectacular. The brand I've got in my hand is called the Nivada Grenchen. This is the Chronomaster. Nivada Grenchen is a company that was established around 1926, and they developed this watch, the Chronomaster, back in the 60s. It was meant to be a be-all and do-all watch. It's a high-grade diving chronograph, which for the time, for the period, this was ahead of its time. And now Nivada Grenchen is doing a comeback and they've remade this model, and it's almost a true one-to-one, and it's delicious. It's beautiful, I love it. Being a hopeless romantic, I love watches like this. But I will try to be subjective and put all the emotions aside, and in saying that, I did manage to find 3 negatives of the watch, albeit everything else ticks the right boxes for me. Let's check this thing out. Welcome back, guys. So as you can see, I've got the Nivada Grenchen Chronomaster. This is the Panda version, and this is wonderful. This is a superb watch. It's a 38.5mm case diameter, and you know what? It's a spectacular looking piece. I've actually placed it on a leather strap here. This is a, what is it, a Strapatilia. The original strap that it comes with, I'll show you. It's actually very nice, very supple, beautiful, genuine leather, really nice stuff. But I decided to go something and soften it up a little bit by putting a bit of a tan color here, and I think it really suits, especially with a patina on those hands and indices. But in saying that, the watch was designed to be a diver. It's 100 meters of water resistance, screw down crown, a really functional tool, but beautifully laid out. From those subdials, the positioning, being a 38.5mm watch, it's not a very big watch. They've used the real estate beautifully. Love it. Now, you saw the pop-up at the start of the video, guys. This watch has been sent out to the channel. I don't have to send it back. However, Nivada Grenchen has 0 input into the review content. I love the watch. I really do. I think the watch is spectacular because, like I said at the intro, it's almost a true one-to-one from the original, and that's really special. Now let's get into its specifications. I measure a case diameter of 38.5mm. The case height to the top of that box sapphire crystal comes in at 15mm. The lug to lug distance is 46 and a lug width of 20mm. Now the crown is a 6.7mm screw down crown. It's signed and it offers 100 meters of water resistance. And the total weight of the watch, depending on what strap you put it on, comes in between 90 to 100 grams. And this is where the watch shines, on the actual wrist. It's beautiful. It's got a fantastic vintage footprint, albeit it is a little bit on the high side, coming in at 15mm, but if you look at the box sapphire crystal, that takes up about 2 and a bit mil. So it's really about a 13mm. It does wear well. Now the watch features a Sellita SW510 automatic. It's based on a Valjoux 7750. It's a camwell chronograph, and you know what? It's pretty much bulletproof. If you have a look at the actual chronograph at the moment, it's running. We can stop it and reset. A very healthy snap. That is brilliant. So pretty much a bulletproof movement. I've put this on the time grapher. It's running healthy. It'll run strong and healthy for years to come. Tried and tested. Now if you look at the bezel on this watch, it's a bi-directional, and it's got quite a few markings. It's actually got a count up scale from 5 to 60 minutes, but it's also got a dual time zone. If you look, it's got 1, 2, 3. It's got the hours there up to 12 o'clock. So that is fantastic. That's a dual purpose bezel, and it's friction fit like the original. So you can move it left, you can move it right. It's just got the right amount of stiffness, firmness without being loose. So you're pretty much not going to knock this accidentally. I've been wearing it. I haven't knocked it. It stayed there. It stays there. It's brilliant. Now, like I said, the crystal on this watch is a box sapphire crystal. It's got anti-reflective coating, and you can see right at the edges it's got just a nice distortion. Yeah, the clarity in the middle of the dial is great, but if you look right at the extreme edge of that dial, you can see there's a scale which features a tachometer, and you can measure various types of events, functions, you name it. I've actually done a video on how to use a tachometer. A really handy tool. Now if you look at those subdials, you can see on the right you've got a red section from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So it's basically a countdown timer in minutes. You can count things down, making a coffee, boiling some eggs, you name it, but really handy to have a separate 5-minute scale there. On the left you've got your running seconds, and as you can see in the middle you've got your sweeping hand, obviously running the chronograph. Now the watch stays true to form with its skin diver case. As you can see, it's got drilled lugs, it's got a beautiful profile, and the majority of the thickness I found in that 15mm is on the bottom. So that seems to hide beautifully on the top of the wrist. As you place it on the wrist, it seems to bed in just nicely in the top of your wrist. So design wise, being an automatic, obviously it's going to be a little bit thicker. They do also feature the manual wind, which is a little bit thinner, I think about 13mm. But the fact that they've stayed to the same original layout, absolutely wonderful. They say the devil is in the detail, and you know, with a watch like this, it's all about detail. The printing is nice, it's sharp, everything is laid out in a position where it should be. It's giving you a nostalgic feel because of its size, coming in at 38.5mm. It's not overbearing, it's actually classy, and I had this on the wrist. I was at a function the other day and I got so many comments from so many people. It's one of those watches that stands out. Now if we get back onto that crown, as you can see, it's a signed screw down crown. It's 6.7mm and it offers 100 meters of water resistance. Let's unscrew that crown. It pops out, as you can see. Let's just stop the chronograph for a second. Now if you notice the running seconds hand on the left, if I pull out the crown, you can see that it's hacked the movement. We can adjust the time and start her up again. Look at those broad arrow hands, that is just brilliant. There is so much style and finesse going on in this watch. I absolutely love it. Now the winding experience of the crown is really nice. You've got a beautiful dampening, a resistance from that Salida, very nice. And the latch down experience, you push it in, it latches on, first time, locks in, and you've got 100 meters of water resistance. A really, really healthy watch, a really nice functional tool, and I love that. I absolutely love that. Now if we have a look at the lume on the watch, you can see it's there, but there's nothing special. So as a chronograph, I think it's doing a good job, but it is there just in case you need it. Now you can tell from my enthusiasm, you know, I do love this watch. I do love things of the 60s, the cars, the design of the houses, the furniture, the watches. I love it, absolutely love it. But in saying that, there are negatives as well as positives in a watch like this, and for me, the main negative that I can find of this particular watch is legibility on this particular model. Obviously being a cream dial with light colored hands, sometimes you might lose the actual time and you probably have to look twice. But you know what? For me, having a watch that's this good looking, that's a positive, because you have to look twice, you get to look at your watch again, which is really nice. Second negative is that thickness. At 15mm for a 38.5mm, 15mm is a little bit on the thicker side, but 2mm is taken up by that crystal, so it's not too bad on the wrist. Experienced, it does fit quite well, which is an impressive feat. Third negative that I found on the watch is potentially the price. Some people might find that a little bit steep, but I'll tell you what, you're buying a watch that's historical, really well built, in fact really well built. I'm impressed at the build quality of this watch, albeit it is vintage, it's nostalgia, executed to a T, and I love it. They're about the three negatives that I found on this particular watch. Everything else is great for me. Nivada Grenchen's also given us a code, so if you use this code, if you purchase the watch, you also get an extra strap of your choice. The watch looks great, it's got drilled lugs, it's got a fantastic footprint, the movement is bulletproof, which is really well done. The history of the company, the functionality, the layout, the friction fit bezel, true to form skin diver case, box sapphire crystal, I can go on and on and on. I really can. This watch it's ticking all the right emotional boxes for me, being of the right period, being replicated from the original design. Gee, there's not much not to love. There really isn't, guys. I am a hopeless romantic. I am passionate when it comes to watches that are original design and they're bringing something back from their original company. I love stuff like this. It just makes me happy. I'll leave the links in the description, guys. Have a look at their website. There are different colorways. There are the original black. This is the Panda. Like I said, I was drawn to the Panda because being a smaller watch, being something of 38.5, I thought, gee, you need a lighter dial just to make the watch look a little bit more presence on the wrist. And you know what? It's worked. Matching it up with a nice tan strap, or even with a leather or a tropic strap so it can be waterproof, gee, it just works. It just really works. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I hope I wasn't too passionate about the watch. I really do like this. So I wanted to share that, and hopefully some of my enthusiasm comes across on what I look for, what I like in watches. And this is one of those things. This is one of those watches. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit me up in the comment section with your thoughts about this brand, and we'll see you all in the next video.